Hello everyone, I'm back today with another journal that I've created. This one is the Gentleman's Pocketbook. The idea behind this is that it is a book that a man from Victorian and Edwardian era would have just kept with him at all times and wrote down things that he was interested in, things he wanted to learn more about, and things he has been collecting information about, and he keeps those things just written down in this book. And so it's sort of like a commonplace book, pocketbook, and things like that. So we will just jump right in. There is a belt that holds the book closed. It's not attached to the book, but it does hold it closed. Let's put it like that. It can be attached if you were to want to. So it is a short belt. It was a longer belt that I cut down and stitched together to make it shorter, and I added some extra holes in the side to buckle it in. On the buckle here is a luggage tag, which is also leather, and it has a card in it. It says property of, and I've inked that up, made it look older, and yeah, and that of course can be taken off as well if you choose to. Let's see. The cover itself is just pieces of jackets, is what most of them are. They're all genuine leather. They're cut, there's like suede here, and a nice soft buttery leather here, and then some thicker leathers as well in darker colors. And I just love the sort of crazy quilt type look that it creates, and it's the entire cover is that way. And there's zigzag stitching around each piece, and it is layered with some canvas. There's two pieces of canvas there. It has a nice flexibility to it, so it molds nicely to the book, so as you add papers or what have you, you can easily, it can grow with the book, as well as the belt. The belt can also grow. Let's see, what else? There's zigzag stitch all the way around the edge, and I left it frayed, and I took ink and I kind of grunged it up a bit just to make it look older. The one single signature pages are stitched into the spine of the book. Inside is it's a memory keeper. I made it in the style sort of vintage cabinet cards, and it just comes untucked there. Has memories stamped here on this label, and when you open it, it has a place here for some journaling, and it has some real vintage ephemera in here. We have a picture of, in the story as I was making this, it's a picture of his son that he carries with him, and a picture from one of the buildings where he went to college. And here is a postcard. I can't remember, the date is kind of smudgy, but yeah, it's a nice picture of somewhere in Mexico, and that's kind of, it's a little bit tight, but that fits in there snugly, and can tuck back in and keeps everything closed up in there. And I just have that loose in the front there. It's a little pocket. There's nothing in there right now, but you can put your information in there if you wanted to, or maybe it's your father or grandfather that you're making a journal about or something like that. You could put their information in there. And there's a collage of book pages and images and a little bit of stamping here. Kind of a collection of the many things that he's interested in, that he has kept information about in this book. There's a little pocket with some chess information here, chess lingo from a book about easy way to play chess, or Chess the Easy Way. I can read, honest. It doesn't seem like it. A tag here for some journaling with some more chess images on it. It's a poem from William Shakespeare from The Tempest, a snippet of that. There's still plenty of place in this journal to write, or to add in more ephemera if you wanted to, more of your own. This folds out. It has a little clip here, one of those little Tim Holtz clips there, and some piece of glassine there from a bag, a vintage image, and a receipt, which I did some stamping on and kind of really grunged it up. He is interested in, or he does actually raise chickens, so he keeps his information here. He has his ledger where he keeps track of their expenses and profits from that, and a bit of ledger there, and a vintage printout. A bit of washi here with just a graph on it. It's a book page of Africa. It's from a very old 1800s geography book, and it has the continent of Africa, and it's the terrain there, and this is just half of the image, but it has some nomads that are native to the area of Africa, and this has some information here. I can't remember. Oh, it has like the mountain ranges and the Sahara and things like that, and some more information about the interior of Africa and a compass there. This is a memory that he wanted to keep from before he married his wife. They were courting, and they were separated for a period of time, and he sent her a postcard, but he did not have her complete address. This is just my imagination. This is not real story. It's just my imagination to the book. But he didn't have her complete address on there. It just has her name and city. And this was from 1910. And in my story, it was sent back to him, but he kept that as a memory from when they were courting. And these are some more poems from William Shakespeare that are romantic, so they go well with that. Catch my breath. Bit of coffee dyed paper, which I did some stamping on, which kind of is related to the story of the postcard. It's just a collage of some vintage ephemera. These are all printed vintage ephemera. They're not real. But just some different things that he's collected along his way. Just a little tag. It says, important to remember. Another little washi thing there with a vintage stamp on it. And this, he does collect stamps. And so there's a page here with a stamp attached there and some pattern paper. This is a little tracing paper envelope that I made, and inside it, which they're a little tricky to get out, but there are some, there's more than just one. There are several, if I can get any of them out. Might have to dump the book out. But anyways, yeah, there are several of these vintage stamps in here. And this page is all about the sun and the moon, seasons, basically the planetary orbits. Like here it says planetary movements, and it has a book page, and it has seasons, and he circled seasons because it's in relation to the location of the sun and the earth. And this tag was in this little pocket here, and this is a printed cigarette card with the sun and the moon on it, and waves and tides. And this is a image from a old book about the tides and how the moon affects the tides. And that is a blank for some journaling on the back. There's a tiny little gnat flying around, driving me crazy. This book here is a more science-related stuff. It has wavelengths and things like that from an old book, and a label layered with some fabric here. And this is a large pocket with a tag that has some more of that, another illustration from that book. Some coffee-dyed paper for a place to write. I did some stamping of some gears there. And then from an old dictionary, I took out just a half a page here that has the metric system on it. Get that back in there. This book has information about cars. This is just a label with a top hat stamped on it, and some book page and cheesecloth layered down here. So illustration from a book, and this is another one which I've made into a tag or a journaling card. that you can write on. It's a little note paper that has an old car on it. And I took ink and just lightly kind of grunged up each page, and you can see the print from the paperclip from the other side. This is where he gives information about birds and eggs and things like that for identification. It's a vintage image, which I turned into a little booklet, which has coffee dyed paper in it for writing. And a vintage image there, layered with some, fabric. Little collage here. In my story, he drew this picture as he was out on a walk, and he gathered some information about feathers. This is a dictionary insert with some graph paper and brown paper, and this is also a large pocket. In here is a tag where he has watercolor painted some feathers that he's found, and he has written what the bird they're from, like a great horned owl, and what kind of feather it was. It's a tail feather. It's from an American crow, and it's a secondary feather. These are attached on with a brad, and I covered the other side up with this little collage here with a stamped image and tucked in a little place to journal there. Some of his field notes type log that he put into this journal. This is a vintage image which I printed out, and I tried to make it look like it came from a book or a notepad, and it has an illustration of a toy that he wants to make with his son to kind of teach him about mechanics, and a great opportunity for them to spend time together and do something together. Another little sketch that he did, and this is layered with some tea bag. This is a collage with some book page and ledger. This is pattern paper down here in a vintage image. Another little bit of washi sticker, which is a excerpt from a book page, and it's talking about chilling champagne before dinner. Some information he wants to remember for entertaining guests. Here's a postcard that he got on a trip to New York. He wanted to remember the little collage. Some more ledger paper with a collage here. This is a coin, like a coin roll paper. And this is a bit of a men's handkerchief that they would carry with them at all times. Some more writing paper with some stamped images on them. And then here he was gathering information about honeybees. We have a book illustration here with the different types of bees, and a dictionary excerpt that says honey and honeycomb. This was from a very old dictionary. This is pattern paper, a vintage image of a beekeeper magazine. And I had to put this playing card in here. It's old, and I inked it up, make it look older, because it has bees on it. And there's some pattern paper behind. And then there is a vintage image of a horse here, which makes a tuck spot, and it has another horse illustration, which I have grunged up and put in that pocket. Back here he has clipped on a childhood memento from when he was growing up. And this is a children's pocket Sunday school book that they would have scripture memorization and like questions and study guides and poems and things like that. And it has notes in it, and you can see it's from 1899. This is the original book. It's not a reproduction. It has a stamp here. Has a note here from a S.V. Willis, which was a friend he went to Sunday school with. It has some more writing there. Some friends signed the book for him. Some more signatures. I just think this book is so cool. Another note there. This one is not, there's no name on it, so I don't know who it was from, but of course he wanted to remember those children he went to Sunday school with and grew up with. This is a hymnal, a hymn from an old hymnal, which I have aged and inked up and made look older. Just a hymn that was meaningful to him. That was just here on this bulldog clip, and I just tied some twine on there for some interest. And there is the gentleman's pocketbook. So this will be listed in my Etsy, and you can find that link down in the description below, and you can find out all the measurements and pages and all that good stuff. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I appreciate everyone. And do let me know what you think of this book. I do appreciate hearing feedback. And thanks for watching, guys. Bye.